Hey everybody, how you doing today? Mikey's back with a dip review. Today, I'm continuing down the road of CN Smokeless. I'm trying Derringer Long Cut Moist Tobacco. Not moist snuff. It's Peppermint Premium Moist Tobacco. I don't know why they're calling it tobacco and not snuff, but okay. Whatever works. Front of the can, Peppermint Derringer, Premium Moist Tobacco, Long Cut, and the obligatory government warning with the cute little bullet hole. Alrighty. On the side, you got the logo. Telling the long cut, barcode, all kinds of little information and warnings, blah, 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 and more long cut. And on the back, we have a date code, which, if I'm reading this correctly, this is old. As in 23 months old. I'm going to try it anyway. Let's see here. Made in the USA, 100% imported tobacco. Nothing domestic about this, all imported. Sales only allowed in the United States. CN Smokeless Company, LLC in Grover, North Carolina. Now, if they're in North Carolina, why do they have to have 100% imported tobacco? That's like tobacco country, isn't it? Oh well. Whatever. Imported tobacco. Out of date imported tobacco. And let me get this open. Come on. There we go. And there's your money shot. Kind of all over the place. Look at the chunky stuff over here in the corner. One little chunky bit over here. Looking at the lid. Cuts all over the place. Long bits, short bits. Yeah. The smell. I really hate to say this. It reminds me of kayak mint. And that review did not go well. It has mint flavor, aroma. Definitely has mint. But there's something funky going on in the background that's reminding me a lot of kayak mint. It's, I don't know. It doesn't smell appealing. Let me just put it that way. And what's that? Chunk of stem or something in there. Look at that bad boy. Yeah, it's pretty moist. Moisture content's good. It might be out of date, but this is extremely moist. Hopefully, I really don't want to put this in my mouth. I'm having flashbacks to kayak's mint. Hopefully this is better than it smells. I'm holding out hope. Let me get a pinch here and see what we got going on. It pinches pretty good. Definitely moist. Definitely has pinchability there. But the cut's like all over the map. I shouldn't really be pinching this much, but in for a penny, in for a pound, I say. Right off the bat, it's minty. Getting some mint going on in here. Yeah, spring has finally sprung in Oregon. I'm filming this in April. It's nice to see some sunshine. Well, it's supposed to rain again for the next couple of days and then partly cloudy on Saturday. So, I don't know. Having problems with the new manager I hired. Attendance issues. Which means my schedule's been thrown to crap. Right now I've got Wednesday off and Saturday off. Woo! I hate having split days off. I never know what day of the week it is. Just throws my schedule off completely. Right now, it's just mint. Just it's a pleasant peppermint. Nothing real funky has happened yet. Not really tasting any tobacco. It's just mint. So they got that much going for them. Nothing funky yet. Hope I didn't jinx it yet. Hmm. Peppermint, some sweetness. I can't really taste anything beyond that right now. You think with as much as I put in, be getting something, but not really. Hmm. I don't know. Interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Yeah. It's just pure peppermint right now, which is kind of weird. I was expecting something else. From the smell off the can, I was definitely expecting something else. Hmm. I don't know. Definitely different. Almost tastes like some peppermint candies I used to get at a local candy shop when I lived up in Alaska. Yeah, when I lived in Alaska, I worked for one of the major airlines for over 14 years, nearly 15 years. Got to see a lot of the state. Um, the last 6 or 7 years I was with the airline, I worked what they call it stores. Basically, you're the parts department in the hangar. We keep track of and maintain parts for the fleet. Mechanics need something, they come to us to get it. There's a part that they take off that's unserviceable. We got to make sure all the paperwork's right, ship it back to be refurbished, or make sure it's destroyed properly or something stuff like that. But I got to fly around Alaska and I saw all kinds of parts. One of the more fascinating ones was Adak. Adak Island, down on the Aleutian chain. It's closer to Tokyo than it is to Seattle when you're in Adak. That's how far it is. Over a 4 hour flight from Anchorage, if I remember correctly. Well, we kept a stash of spare parts out there in case the plane broke when it landed. And every 6 months, we'd go out there, check the parts, do an inventory. Anything was getting out of date, we'd pull it, bring in new stuff. So I had the fun opportunity to go out to Adak a couple of times. Used to be a major naval base back in the Cold War era. Anymore, there's like 50 year-round residents, if that. There's like one tree on the island over near the airport. A couple of homesick soldiers put it up during World War II. And that tree, you land in Adak, it's like it sticks out like a sore thumb. The rest of the island's got like willow brush and stuff like that. And then there's this tree, a few hundred yards off the runway. Kind of interesting. But Adak was one of the islands that was invaded by the Japanese during World War II. The Japanese actually landed on the Aleutians. Island of Attu, at the very tip of the Aleutians, was where most of the fighting was. But poor soldiers that got sent up there, they were supposed to be going to like Guam or the Philippines, but they got routed up to Attu to fight the Japanese there. They were not equipped for Arctic conditions. No thick socks, no jackets. And so not only were they having to fight the Japanese, but they were freezing their tails off while they were doing it. Very, very little interesting piece of American history. And it's one of the few parts of military history where a foreign army actually occupied American soil. Although Alaska was merely a territory at the time, it wasn't officially a state. Getting some floater problems. It's developing a bit of a funky taste. There's some artificialness creeping in with this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Not one of my favorites. It's not the worst mint I've ever tried. That particular title belongs to Kayak Mint, unfortunately. But this stuff, probably one or two up from that on the ranking. Yeah, the longer it's sitting in my mouth, it's kind of getting mushy, and it's really starting to develop a funk, like some artificial, maybe it's glycol or grain alcohol that they use to keep it moist or something. But it's developing some kind of funky aftertaste, which is not very enjoyable. Mm. And it's mushing and it's coming up the side of my cheek and it's giving me floaters. Yay. But yeah, the Aleutians were attacked. Actually, Japanese landed on the Aleutian Islands. Parts of Oregon were bombed by a firebomb attempt to set the forests on fire to pull resources away from the war effort. And a Japanese sub actually fired a couple of rounds at a small army outpost up near Astoria back during World War II. Fort Stevens, if I remember correctly. So yeah, the Pacific Coast did see some World War II action. Not much, a little bit light on the light side, but they did see some. So yeah, the American mainland was actually attacked by enemy forces during World War II. It's just been forgotten in history because they were just minor attacks, but they did happen. Ugh. Okay, this stuff's starting to go south on me. Yeah, there's something. It started out okay, just strictly peppermint. Almost had a minty burn, so much peppermint. Now there's a slight peppermintish burn, but there's a really funky aftertaste kind of brewing in there right now. And the floaters are becoming a little bit of a meh issue. Not real bad, but they're starting to become a little annoying because as I'm talking, it's mushing and moving up the side of my cheek. Keep having to tuck it back in. Yeah, all in all, I believe this is a budget blend, and rightfully so. I think this is towards the bottom of the budget blend line, and rightfully so. Yeah, if you're rubbing pennies together, you got no other options. Yeah, it might work in a pinch, but as an everyday dip, you can do better. You can do much better for just a little bit more money. You can get some Stokers, you know, or a Husky Mint. There's also another budget brand, which is actually a pretty good mint. Avoid kayak at all costs, and I'd say this one, nah, it's not worth the effort. There's too much funkiness going on right now. No, it's juiced up quite a bit, and the flavor's flowing. There's some kind of a aftertaste. On the back end of the mint, there's this funkiness that's just not very pleasant. That's probably some of the additives they throw in there, so yeah, you get what you pay for. Is my microphone even okay? I remembered to turn on the microphone. That horrible thought just occurred to me. I don't want to do a take 2 with this. No. So anyway, Derringer, peppermint long cut. Meh. It's okay. It's not the worst mint I've ever tried, but it's not the best by a long shot. So I'm not quite sure how much this stuff costs retail. I'm assuming not much at all, $2 or $3. But yeah, for $2 or $3, I'd spend the extra $1 or $2 and get some Stokers or some Husky. That's just me. If you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Channel members get access to all the videos as they drop. Everybody else has to wait until the schedule worked its way through and they become live to the general public. We have a Patreon page going on. That's my fallback. Floaters, yuck. Like a chunk of stem. Ugh. Anyway, Patreon page is my fallback measure if and when YouTube decides to crack down on tobacco channels again. And I do have a Facebook page going on. If you feel so inclined to go on over there, link will be down below. I am going to get this stuff out of my mouth as soon as I hit the off button on the camera. I wish you all good day. And take care. And yeah, this stuff's really starting to go south on me. Tapping out. Bye. Getting this stuff out of my mouth. Yeah.